There's been a trend on YouTube that has been slowly taking over the platform. A trend that started with a couple of channels before slowly spreading to many other YouTubers to the point where even big established YouTubers are starting to use this trend. This trend is the most loved versus hated type videos. A trend that I find stupid, annoying, and soulless. Recently, I made a video on Spaceballs talking about the new long form videos and how they were awful because of how hypocritical and soulless they are, which did super well, and I want to thank all of you guys for the success of that video. I also mentioned how I'll be making a video on the entire trend in general, as there's a lot more issues I want to talk about. So sit back and relax as I explain this trend and why it's considered bad. But before we begin, please like and subscribe and join membership if you want to support more on the channel. So let's start. Now, what exactly are these videos? Well, they're basically people explaining love versus hate things in certain categories. Now, this trend has been on the platform for a while, but it was a different kind of video, that being the 7 sinful versus heavenly YouTuber trend, which I made a video on almost 1 year ago. However, ever since then, this trend has just evolved to just talking about love versus hated things, which before these were just about YouTubers and celebrities, but soon it began spreading to the point where it just started talking about anything: pets, cartoon characters, products, Superman, soccer players, Super Mario characters, and yeah, it just snowballed and snowballed until we got to where we are now. Well, almost every niche now has these types of videos with the same exact thumbnails, with possibly hundreds of channels making videos like these, ranging from just a few hundred subs to millions of subscribers, while a new video like this is being uploaded every hour. Which, by the way, I want to talk about these thumbnails because I don't like them. They feel soulless, lazy, and if you are a Christian, you might find a little offensive. Like, okay, some are just annoying at worst. Like here, putting devil horns on people like Sniper Wolf, EDP405, Chris Tyson. You know what? Fair. They've done awful things, they deserve that status. But then we have thumbnails where we're putting devil horns on pets. You know, animals that don't know any better, or children because of something their parents did. Like, imagine being friends with someone whose family has a YouTube channel, and then you're scrolling on YouTube one day, and then you see this thumbnail, where you see your friend and their family with devil horns on them. Yeah, that's gotta be awkward. I mean, what are we gonna put halos and devil horns on next? Planets, mountains, boats, country? Actually, you know, I should have not said that.
For every live-action DC villain fans adore, there's one they wish never existed.
You know, I never thought I'll see the day where we see Joker with a halo on, but here we are. You know what? Let's play a game. Here's one of the channels that's making these kinds of videos, Pexo. Now, I'm gonna pull up 4 thumbnails, and I want you to guess which one is it, okay? 3, 2, 1, go. The answer is none. However, most people probably wouldn't even know that because of how similar his thumbnails are to these ones. Now, not all these types of thumbnails are bad. For example, here's this video by Mr. Beat talking about Herbert Hoover, where we see 2 photos of him, one with a halo and one with devil horns. Now, why do I consider this fine? Well, because it's true. Herbert Hoover helped millions of people after World War I by giving them food after most of the farms and factories had been completely destroyed during the war. But however, on the other hand, he was super incompetent when the stock market crashed. Also, it's because the thumbnail doesn't seem as saturated. It's simple and it gets his point across, instead of these thumbnails where they're trying desperately to get you to click with these bright backgrounds and exaggerated titles. Because ignoring the whole putting halos and devil horns on anything, these thumbnails are just painful to look at. Now let's talk about the people making these kinds of videos, because fun fact, almost all of these are content farms. First, we have Spaceballs, the channel I talked about before, and has made 4 of these types of videos and a compilation. Fun fact, they're a Planet Bar content farm, making weird stuff for planet humans. Then we have Clipco, a channel with over 19,000 subscribers and is rapidly approaching me subscribers, so if you want to prevent Clipco from passing me, then please subscribe. But this guy's also a content farm, soulless with AI generated editing and an AI voice, which, fun fact, both Spaceballs and Clipco have the same AI voice. And it's not just them, I've seen many people also use this annoying AI voice. Then we have Ryan Pictures and Pexo, 2 other major commentary content farm channels with over 100,000 subscribers. Then we have Alex Griffin, a Family Guy content farm channel, Gumball Universe, a Gumball content farm channel, Scribby, a cartoon content farm channel, who I've called out in the past. Then you have Spidey Parker, a Marvel/DC content farm channel, and let's not forget the many football content farm channels that exist making videos. I can go on, but I'm just gonna stop here because there's too many to count. Also, these channels will just chase down trends. For example, when Clipco made the video on the most loved versus hate animators, that video got over 2 million views, and soon everyone started making their own version of that. The only problem, they're making videos on the same few channels, which definitely got annoying fast. Speaking of that, another problem is how they talk about the same people: Ryan Trahan, Dan TDM, iShowSpeed, etc. Which, don't get me wrong, they all make great content and have done great things, but I feel like using them this much when referring to good YouTubers just comes off as obsessive, which is either that or they're just saying that manipulating their audience, thinking there's some good moral compass, just like what Spaceballs was doing. The worst example, however, is Technoblade, as my god, he's used a lot when referring to the most loved YouTubers. And maybe it's just me, but I find it super disrespectful to Technoblade and his family, because you know, you have these AI content farm channels, some are probably corporations, just saying the obvious of referring to why Technoblade was a good channel, with bland commentary, and once again, manipulating their audience and thinking there was some good moral compass, while also using him in the thumbnail to get views. Because if I'm gonna be honest, these people do not care about Technoblade and just want to use him for views. Because if they really did care about him, then they would make a video explaining why Technoblade was a good channel, or at least provide some personal input into their thoughts on Technoblade. Because this is just super disgusting and disrespectful to him. I mean, yes, it's probably not as bad as people straight up making fun of his death, or making videos of how someone reacts to Technoblade's death, despite the fact that they did not, but I still find it super disrespectful. Another issue with this is how opinions of creators can change, leading to these videos to become really outdated pretty fast. Two examples are MrBeast and Nikocado Avocado. For MrBeast, these commentary channels would consider him a channel that everyone loved, even though that wasn't true, but after the drama started rolling in during the late summer and early falls of 2024, he started to be considered one of the hated channels. And for Nikocado Avocado, he was seen as one of the terrible YouTubers, but after his 2 Steps Ahead video, he began to be considered well-liked. Also, the people and characters that are put into these love versus hate categories make no sense. For example, Spaceball's recent video on Minecraft YouTubers puts Afmal in the love category while Mazen's in the hater category, despite the fact that they have pretty similar fan bases and content, and most likely also similar reception, so this makes no sense. Or what about the SpongeBob video, where he puts Patrick as one of the hated characters, even though he's loved by millions, while also having the commentary either twisted or just not acknowledging certain things to make it seem like they're telling the truth. Also, their editing style is super generic. It's not lazy, but it's super boring, which by the way, these videos are edited the exact same, which feels super dry and with no personality whatsoever, which doesn't help that they're AI voices, which are boring at best and annoying at worst. Which by the way, they also say the exact same thing in the intro. It's annoying. However, despite saying all this, these videos still get lots of views, with some reaching way past 1 million views. With some of these videos doing super well, other big YouTubers have started making similar types of videos. For example, this Call of Duty YouTuber with his most loved versus hated Call of Duty, oh my god, we're really putting halos and devil horns on guns now. Or Cypher PK with his most loved versus hated Fortnite seasons. Just to let you guys know, I'm like losing my mind right now because this is just insane. Credit where credit is due though, the videos themselves are not soulless, and the editing is watchable as they still use the respective editing styles for these kinds of videos. If anything, I'm pretty sure they just use these thumbnails because they get more clicks. But that just also shows how much this trend's been spreading and how popular it's gotten. Speaking of that, you're probably also asking, why is it so popular? Well, it could be because of the whole thumbnails, because while the thumbnails are bad and annoying, they usually get the job done of getting lots of clicks. Also, videos like these are done on many different topics, so it makes thus being able to be seen by much larger audiences. Also, because how boring these videos are, they usually use as background audio when people are doing activities, and because there's really nothing important to consume when watching these videos, it's much easier to just use them as background music or some sort of white noise. This could also contribute to people thinking this is high quality content, because if you don't pay attention to the video fully, you do see that the videos are super high quality. I think that's also why most of these comments are usually super positive, as people tend to not see that this is just AI generated slop. Also, it could be how they're calling out bad people while also glazing the great people, which makes it seem like they actually care about the platform, thus making it seem like they're great YouTubers, thus getting more likes and views. Honestly, it's just sad that we're seeing a rise of AI slop commentary channels making soulless and annoying videos just for views, not just on YouTubers, but many different kinds of topics as well. Is it possible to stop this trend? Maybe, as I've recently seen other people make videos on these kinds of channels, mentioning how soulless their kind of content is, so hopefully that is the case. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. Please subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys next time.